Hi everyone, I'm John Andrina, and in this video lecture, we'll be talking about the basic fundamentals of the first speaker role in the Asian parliamentary debate format. So we'll be discussing three things in this lecture. Number one, we'll talk about the tasks of a first speaker. Second is we'll talk about how a first speaker can set up a debate. And finally, we'll talk about how the first speaker can make arguments and rebuttals. So, without further ado, let's proceed to the first discussion, which is the task or the tasks of a first speaker. So, in an Asian parliamentary format, we already know that there is the government and opposition bench, and both benches have their own respective first speakers. On government, we have the prime minister speaker, and there are three tasks that are needed for the prime minister to do in their speech. Number one is for the prime minister to set up the entire debate, which I'll discuss how they can do it and why that's important in the next slide. Number two is for prime minister to also provide arguments to create materials for their case. And finally, number three is for prime minister to at least make some preemptions against opposition. Preemptions are fundamentally just predictions, right, of what the opposition might say or what the opposition might argue. And preemptions are important in a sense that as early as prime minister, you're able to directly engage on the opposition bench, even if leader of opposition hasn't said a word just yet. And these preemptions are crucial. These preemptions can help elevate your speech as prime minister alone because it signals to the judge that you are already engaging in the first speech alone, even without opposition saying a word, right? So it's still important. And for opposition, we have the leader of opposition, which has three tasks as well. So number one is for leader of opposition to launch rebuttals against the prime minister. So this means that leader of opposition must and should be able to directly engage towards the materials that came from prime minister speech. And this is important because this signals to the judge that you are also engaging against the material against the government bench as a whole, right? It signals them that you have the you make the active effort of directly disproving prime minister's materials, because without these rebuttals, without responses from leader of opposition, it signals to the judges that you're unengaging. You do not disprove the outstanding materials from prime minister. And I'll discuss to you later on how you can make rebuttals, and I'll also explain the anatomy of a rebuttal as well to help guide you on how to do just that. Second is for leader of opposition to also clarify the context and definitions of the debate. Because as much as prime minister will be able to set up the entirety of the debate, it's also crucial for leader of opposition to be strategic and to also be able to clarify the context in a way that the context becomes the most fair in the debate, right? And finally, is for leader of opposition to also provide arguments that are substantial arguments that elevate the discussion on the opposition bench as a whole, right? So up next, let's talk about setups. What is a setup in the first place? A setup is basically just how the debate should go, or what is the direction of the debate, right? And there are three key things that you have to take note of when making a setup. Number one is the context. So this fundamentally asks you, where does this debate take place? Does this debate take place in a local demographic? Does this debate take place on a specific demographic group outside? Like, does this take place in the West? Does this take place in Southeast Asia, or does this take place in a specific setting that the motion asks you of, right? And this also includes the timeline, such as when does this debate take place? Does this debate take place at present? Does this debate take place in the past, or does this debate take place on the future? Second is the problem. So this just asks us to diagnose the context such that we get to know what is wrong in the status quo or what is wrong in the context. Uh, you ought to understand what could be potential tensions or problems that exist in the context, such that you can make your stance and case later on. And finally is the stance, which is just to ask, what do you believe in on your side? Because if we already know the context and we already know what problem exists on that context, then what is our approach towards that context and problem? Uh, do we believe that the way to solve a problem do we believe that this specific solution is the only way to solve the problem, or do we believe that that this particular solution does not solve the problem? It depends on what your house is, but I'll demonstrate to you later on how this setup necessarily works, and I'll give you a concrete example. So suppose the debate or the motion reads, this House believes that memes should be heavily part of political discourse during government elections. Let's say I'm Prime Minister and I'm going to make the setup. Here's how it would go in accordance to the anatomy that I just explained to you earlier, right? So for the context, in this motion, this debate takes place in the campaign period of the election, where voters, especially younger demographics or first-time voters, are deciding who they ought to give their votes to amidst constant political discourse that happens. How was I able to get that context? The first thing that I did was to read the motion itself. Because this is a THBT motion, then it is a retrospective debate, so such that I was able to contextualize this during the happenings of the campaign season in the past, like the 2022 Philippine national elections, right? And so that's the context. You have to be able to know the context by reading the info slide very carefully, or you should at least take your time to read the context, to read the motion rather, to make sure that your context is as accurate as possible. The first thing to take in mind is the motion type, because this is a THBT motion, it has to be retrospect. Second is to look into the words that are put in the motion, which is, oh, this is about memes. This is about making them heavily part of a political discourse, and it's about the government elections. Government elections. So these are some nuances that you have to take into consideration. Of you have to read the info slide, and the motion carefully to be able to come up with the right context. And it also applies for problem and the stance. You really have to rigorously look and read the motion so that you can get the most accurate setup. So that's the context. The next is the problem. What was I able to diagnose? I was able to diagnose that there's a lack of political awareness amongst voters in this context, such that even if there is political discourse right now, they still do not know the latest news or the issues about the electoral candidates or the political landscape as a whole because of three things. Number one is that these voters do not have access to voter education or informative campaigns. Number two is that psychologically they think that politics is too serious or too boring. But number three is that they hesitate, therefore, to partake or to research on intellectual discussions that pertain to the government elections at hand. Given this problem, my stance, therefore, as government bench, is to say that we believe that memes are effective tools to promote political awareness for voters, for them to make educated decisions in the elections. Therefore, it should be highly encouraged by a large scale, such that we deployed political memes in all social media platforms, encourage its use among younger demographic groups, maybe like even encourage its use in schools and etc. Notice that my setup is still cohesive towards the things that were said on the motion, right? Because intuitively, this motion is about the value judgment, right? It's a value judgment debate on, is it necessarily true that the heavy participation of memes, is it necessary that we really include them during government elections, right? Or during political discourse, or the political discourse during government elections. So then again, I will reiterate this once again, that you have to read the motion carefully to be able to come up with the right setup. Now that we have the setup, the next thing that we want to do is to obviously want to make an argument. So this is a basic anatomy of an argument. So there are five things that you have to take note of. Number one is the title of the argument. Number two is the premise of the argument, which is what's the main idea of the argument, right? Number three is the analysis, such that you explain rigorously why your argument or why your premise is true. Number four is the impact. That is to say, what are the effects of this argument? And finally is number five, example. So this is how you demonstrate real life scenarios or situations that make the argument sound convincing, right? So how does this necessarily manifest? I'll give you another example, but still related to the motion at hand, which is still the memes political discourse during elections. If I'm prime minister, my first argument would be to say that memes make political discourse understandable and fun. And the premise is that the engagement of people towards memes incentivizes them to actively partake in better political discussions. Why is that true? That is proven by my analysis, which is to explain that people, especially younger demographics, are easily entertained with political memes because intuitively they are funny. Like I would look at political memes, they're really funny, they're really entertaining. When they give their attention to these memes, they finally get to know about the political nuances that exist around that meme, right? An example is if they see a meme on social media and it talks about the terrible advocacies of a candidate, then they would know about it, right? And they would even have the incentive to research about that candidate because they saw that meme. That meme caught their attention. That particular media material caught their attention, which if it were another form of material, if it were a more serious material, they wouldn't do the same, right? Thus, political memes hijack the attention span of voters and pushes them to become more politically aware. And the impact there is that if political memes continue to persist and continue to become part of political discourse, right, then more people will become more politically aware. And the likely outcome is that more awareness equals better voting decisions. An example to that is memes about Robin Padilla during the 2022 elections when he was running for Senate. Because there were a lot of political memes surrounding Robin Padilla's advocacies and stances, a lot of people became aware of this guy and what he believes in. And because of that, most people were able to rationalize if they were to vote for Robin Padilla because either they resonate with his advocacies or they think that most of his advocacies are not good for the country, for example, and what have you. But that awareness happened because these memes hijacked their attention span in the first place, right? If it were other alternative means like newspapers, they would still think they would still believe that these other alternatives are too boring, right? That they wouldn't read it and they would not know about Robin Padilla's advocacies, right? But if it were memes, then it would feel interesting enough for them to actually take a look at that issue at hand. So much TLDR. Yeah. So up next, let's talk about rebuttals. So why are rebuttals important? I already talked about why they are important, especially for the leader of opposition, because this is a manifestation of how you understand the government bench, you understand the material from government bench, and now you try to flip it. You try to use it against them, and you can potentially make arguments out of your rebuttal, right? So here's a basic anatomy of a rebuttal. Number one is to reiterate what was said by the previous speaker or the prime minister in this case. Number two is comment. You would say, the prime minister argument was false. We think this is wrong. Third is the analysis, just to explain why do you think it is false? Why do you think it is wrong, right? You can explain it briefly, like a one sentence, or you can also explain it rigorously and exhaustively, which can prompt you to make it an argument in and of itself. And finally is a conclusion, just to keep it short for you to be able to transition to the next part of your speech if it is brief, right? So let's demonstrate how it works. Still using the same motion, now we're the leader of opposition, finally, and we want to debunk the case or at least the argument coming from Prime Minister, right? So I'll reiterate again in my speech. Prime Minister said, the engagement of people towards memes incentivizes them to partake in political discussions because it's fun, because it's entertaining, etc., etc. My comment would be that we think this is false In fact, we believe that the engagement of people in political memes is not as productive as what government promises you. Why is that true? Because in my analysis, I'll prove to you why political memes, even if they're funny, they're still seen as just entertainment materials. Such that even if they are aware, their awareness is surface level at best and is still unproductive because one, they do not see political issues as urgent because they see these political issues as just entertainment materials, as funny things rather than serious things, right? But number two, because memes because the characteristic of a meme is that it's entertaining, it's harder for us to fact check these memes, and thus it's more likely that these voters become susceptible to propaganda, like political trolls spreading fake news against a candidate through a derogatory meme, right? And the conclusion, therefore, is to say government's promise of political memes making better political discourse is not a guarantee or is completely false because of the how political memes, even if it hijacks the psyche of an individual, it doesn't merit them that their awareness is as productive as it sounds. And it can potentially be made as an argument where leader of opposition can launch an argumentation on why political memes are unproductive using the analysis that was mentioned a while ago. So that's just how a rebuttal would work. Note that most of the anatomies or the formats that I've mentioned, which are the formats for setup, for the format for an argument, and the format for a rebuttal, are just the fundamental and basic formats. You're free to explore what works for you, right? But these are just guides. If you're still beginning and debating, this could be a starter for you. But eventually, when you become more experienced, you can explore other formats. But the fundamental items should still remain, which are the things or the items that I mentioned in these anatomies. Yes. So I think that's it for now. But if you have other questions or clarifications for the first speaker role and their tasks, feel free to shoot them. And yes, best of luck to all participating teams. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you.